neighborhood or environmental factors. So those traumas over the course of time can rewire a child's brain and like have an effect on how they relate to others and their perspective in life and how that can affect their development in adulthood.
Hmm. Can you share, did you have a traumatic childhood event, or has one of your children had one? Can you share some personal experience in this space, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from New York. I grew up in, I wouldn't say like I had a very tough childhood, but I grew up where my mother was a single parent. My mother is also a nurse, and she took care of myself and my brother. My mother was really, really diligent as far as making sure that she was the primary breadwinner and taking care of myself and my brother. But with that, she worked a lot of shifts. She was a very traditional nurse working in the bedside. With that being said, she wasn't home all the time. She was working a lot of shifts. So with that, there was a lot of times where I was kind of the mom where I had to take care of my younger brother. We were 8 years apart. So with that being said, it wasn't that there was neglect, but there was a lot of times where I had to take on a lot of responsibilities as a younger child to take care of my brother in the absence of my mother having to work to support us. So over time, that meant that I had to step into a role that I wasn't necessarily prepared for at a younger age. So in a sense, I had to grow up really quickly, really fast. Which in times I ended up getting into trouble, doing a lot of things as a teenager that I shouldn't have, and introduced myself into some things that I shouldn't have been doing
Mhm.
at a very young age, which led me into some troubles that I had as a teenager. I got into trouble. I was a little wayward. I got caused my mom some issues. And with that being said, I definitely would say that that contributed to some of the ways that I parented my older daughter. So my children are 21, 5 and 6. Okay, don't judge me. They're on little opposite ends of the spectrum. But when I had my daughter, I was 21 years old at that time. And in a sense, it was like I was raising her at the same time raising myself. So she was kind of along for the ride when I really didn't even know how to be a parent. And I'm just kind of like, all right, girl, we're just going to have to figure this out amongst ourselves. And that wasn't necessarily the best parenting style, but, I was learning as I go. So once my two boys came along, I was in a different space and I was a very different parent from when I was raising my daughter versus my two boys.
Yes. And, I was thinking to myself how a lot of our parents and ourselves, like our journeys are similar to yours. And Dr. Vicky just put in the chat that many of our experiences are similar. My mom had me when she was 20 and figured it out. But that's what parents do. We work to figure it out the best we can. And so you talk a lot about trauma informed care. Can you give us an example of that approach? Like, what exactly is that? And how do you use that in therapy or in your practice?
Trauma-informed care is the organizational and clinical framework in a sense that assumes that everyone may have some sort of history of trauma. And it shifts from the perspective of asking what's wrong with you, and it shifts to what has happened to you. It insists that we build a safety of trust, choice, and collaboration and empowerment into every interaction that we have with individuals. So, for instance, in trauma or in therapy, I'm not a therapist, but a therapist or a counselor may ask by starting a session like, "What feels most important to you today?" So it's just asking to level set and resonating with the clients rather than launching into a preset agenda and launching into attacks and asking all these questions that may shut you down or make you feel like, oh, this is too much, too many questions overload. And then it makes you not want to open up and you kind of shut off and you don't want to feel like you're building a rapport. For me in healthcare, when I'm working with clients, um, For instance, I started working with a group of women who are recovering from narcissistic abuse. So, in that sense, I'm working with women who are trying to rebuild a sense of self because they've been dealing with individuals, whether it's family or men or whatever situations where they've been broken down so deeply by this situation or this person where they've lost all sense of self. So it's really about building back up that self-esteem that's already been there, but because of the compounded trauma that they've experienced, they've kind of lost all of that sense of well-being and really trying to figure out how do I build back my resilience? And that's where it comes from is really instilling that sense of you are you matter, you are important, you are so strong and resilient, and what this person or this situation did to you is not the end. This is your awakening, and this is where we're
Hmm.
out and being stronger. And this is where you're learning that this is not going to happen anymore, and we're going to come back from this stronger.
Yes, I love that because we have such power to choose a different outcome or a different situation, but it starts with learning to love ourselves and then giving ourselves an opportunity to choose differently, right? And to choose ourselves first. So
Yeah.
I love that. How, when you said you work with women, or a group of women, how does that work exactly? Are you doing group sessions in person or is it Zoom? And are you following some sort of, workbook or what have you? How does that work?
Yes, I love this question. So what I've created is called soul care sessions, and
Mm,
it's curated. They're curated soul care sessions, and they can be in person. I have a studio. I'm located in Southern Maryland, in White Plains, and I have in-person sessions, and then I also have virtual sessions. So soul care sessions are essentially curated sessions that we work together on a monthly, biweekly or monthly basis, whatever your schedule allows. And they are based off of whatever your goals are. So I curate that and I customize a program and we incorporate different modalities. So one program or one session is not the same for every single person. I incorporate certain modalities such as Reiki energy healing. So I'm a Reiki practitioner. I incorporate balancing energy, chakra healing. I also do sound healing, guided meditation.
mm,
We also do cognitive based, talk therapy as well. Also,
mm,
I'm also doing a lot of movement because trauma stays trapped in the body unless we're doing something energetically to move it out. So we'll do sessions with guided meditation, sound healing, breath work, yoga, even Pilates as well, because for older women, we have to do some sort of movement. We're not in the space of doing all of this jumping around and all
mm,
these like, things that are too much impacting on our joints. So I like to incorporate mindfulness, movement, and education into the program. So like I said, I give you like a prescription,
mhm,
really a prescription, but it is a soul care prescription where I incorporate all these different modalities depending on what your goals are. So,
mm,
you may be coming to see me for something mental health related, where someone else might be coming to see me because they're having some hormonal imbalances, or someone else may be coming to see me because their child is having some issues with behavioral health in school or emotional regulation. So no one person's soul care prescription is going to be the same. And that's what makes me a little different is I customize it. I listen to what your needs are, and it's going to be according to what is specific for what your goals are.
love that. And everybody has a different prescription. A lot of people will say, okay, we're going to go through this 10-day work and child versus, as you said, a narcissistic situation with themselves. So I love how you customize it and you make it personalized for each individual. And you're available virtually. So if there's somebody here in this community that is interested in working with you, they can reach out to you via email, via your website. What would you suggest?
Yes, you can reach out to me via email. My email is Janine@zenwellstudio.com. And also through my website is zenwellstudio.com. And all through social media platforms, Zenwell Studio. on all social media. And for the SonRise community, I'm offering 20% discount code for anyone that wants to work with me. And you can use the code SonRise20. My
Sunrise 20. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so good. And you work with young adults too. Many of the people here are parents dealing with either teenagers or young adults or, older adults even. So do you work with young adults also?
I do. I'll tell you a couple of things. So I have a youth mentoring program. I work with students between the age of 12 and 17, and we do programs. My program, because I'm a nurse, I infuse clinical and also the wellness to incorporate the whole person. So I'm
Mhm.
incorporating not only mental health and physical behavior, I'm incorporating the physical side by incorporating chronic disease management, teaching them about their body, sexual health, um, hypertension, respiratory, um, all of the things that they need to know about their physical manifestations, because the trauma and the
Mm.
mental portion over time can impact the physical health.
Mm.
In addition to that, I have 5 and 6-year-old little Black boys.
Uh,
And there's a lot that goes along with that.
yes.
My 5-year-old in particular is starting to display some early stages of behavioral and emotional issues. I've been going through a lot of challenges recently, which is very new for me. My oldest, my 21-year-old, she's a girl, and I didn't have those issues with her growing up. And even my 6-year-old son, he's pretty chill. I don't really have any issues with him. However, that little young one, I don't know. That little young one is giving me a little time. So these are some things that I'm also learning, even though I know them, but to experience them personally, I'm like, well, I
Mm.
got to put, all the things, the tools that I know, I have to put them into play myself. And some
Yes.
that I know don't work for him, and so I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, I got to course correct and figure something else out because this ain't working for him.
Right.
He don't care about breathing. He's like, no, that's not working for me. He don't want to do yoga. That's not working for him.
Right.
So um,
Right.
I'm tired of getting phone calls from the school. I'm like, okay, I got to work. I got to figure things out. There's a lot of things that are happening with him. So this is also like my own kind of like focus group and litmus test. I'm trialing and erroring things through my own son. So
Yes.
I'm not just saying, hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we need to do here. I'm also preaching about this because I'm experiencing it myself.
Right, which is so good because I think the most important thing here, particularly with the our community, is having a lived experience that
Yes.
so people can feel that we can all relate to what you're talking about. And I know all of us can relate to having those phone calls from the school, especially with little Black boys, and especially when they're in a majority environment where they're often misunderstood. So I love that you're sharing. I really appreciate your vulnerability and being willing to talk about your own challenges. And I actually want to ask you, related to your comments around your own children, what do signs, like common signs of, and again, using your language and our topic of trauma, signs of trauma, what does it look like in young adults? In high school, as you talked about 12 to 17, so those middle school to high school years, what does that look like? Or even as people are going to college or to the military or just off to living on their own.
I
What
would
does
say
it look like?
I would definitely say having trouble concentrating, despite having strong cognitive abilities, um, reacting with intense anger or shutting down entirely at the slightest provocation, struggle with forming trusting relationships with peers or adults, exhibiting hypervigilance or always being on guard for threats, even in safe spaces. I think those are some of the signs and symptoms of having some behavioral or issues. I think those are some of them. Like, and these patterns are they're not because they're bad kids or acting out. They're just survival strategies, and they're honing into responses of real or perceived dangers or threats. So, it's understanding them, and that's really what it is like figuring out and meeting them where they are, meeting them in the middle. And that's where it is just building, like I said, building that rapport.
Hi, I think Kelly dropped off, but I do have a question.
Yes.
So I have a daughter who's 24 now, but she has had mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, eating disorder for a while. And she feels as though it stems from a trauma that occurred in her childhood, but she doesn't know what it is. And therapists have been trying to work through that with her through different ways to try and understand what really may have happened. So I just didn't know if you had any thoughts on to kind of how to truly understand and uncover that, and
I'm
whether or
not
not
sure.
it.
I didn't hear the last part. You said you.
Oh, I just am not sure if just how to if we actually should figure out that what it is, and she just should continue to try and manage through as she goes forward versus really trying to figure out if something did happen.
So you've basically tried just more or less cognitive based therapy.
Mostly, she's also done, I think it's called EDRS or EM.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it's called EDRS.
Got you. So that's one of the things that that when clients come to me is when they've tried other different types of therapeutic interventions before. And that's what makes me a little different is like I like to infuse other types of modalities as far as like I mentioned, Reiki energy healing and guided meditation, sound healing by introducing the instruments. And I'm not sure if you ever heard of that before with using sound bath as a way to use the instruments for inducing deep healing on a cellular level. With the instruments I use, induces the sound helps with the frequency and the vibrations help to induce the healing. Also with movement as well. So sometimes, with getting a lot of that trauma out through movement, helps to relieve some of that pressure. Also, too, maybe she's just maybe not feeling a connection with some of her therapists that she's worked with before, and maybe just finding the right fit to help her unpack some of those things. Because, as you start to unpack and peel back some of the layers of the onion, and that's where you start to get to the root cause of things and figuring out really what's going on. So I just think, maybe trying other modalities and adding more tools back into the toolbox to help her cope and adding more ways to add coping mechanisms and tools to help her. I'd be more than happy to work with you if you'd like.
Great. Thank you. I will follow up.
Absolutely. Sometimes too, finding people that even look like her.
Exactly. I was about to just, as soon as you said you'd be more than happy to help, I was literally thinking it would be great for you to possibly
Yeah.
follow up. So that's awesome. My phone, I'm having such fun-filled technical challenges this morning. So as I go in and out, thank you for continuing and keeping it moving. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any question or comment or thought for Janine this morning? If you're on mute, you can hit *6 on your phone, or you can feel free to come off of mute
I'm
on your
here.
computer. Awesome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, let me put my camera on.
That's even better. That's amazing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm currently walking a baby,
Look at you
Oh,
getting moved out
beautiful.
there. All right. Yeah.
but there are so many similarities with your journey. I'm so happy I came today. Um, I have a 13, a 7, and a 1-year old, all girls. I became a nurse when I was 21, but a little bit after I was 21 because I needed to take care of my daughter. I was a single mom. But nursing as an LVN, at least, I just didn't feel that passion because I just felt like all I was doing was passing out pills
Mm-hmm.
and charting. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like I was really making a difference at all. And then on top of that, it was just been mean girl culture.
Yep.
It was really hard. And I think it was too just living in El Paso, Texas, where I'm from, being a minority in the field before COVID. Um, Nurses weren't always treated the best, especially like correctional nursing. So I ended up getting married again, having more kids, and deciding I was not going back. So since then, I've got my 200 yoga. I'm currently getting my Reiki 1 and 2. I'm a health and life coach, but I still wonder how people are able to work nursing experience into all these other healing modalities. Like, I'm very curious about how you're able to do that in this field.
Oh my goodness. So, Ashley, I am so excited that you asked this question. I am getting ready to launch a holistic coaching incubator, which is all the things that you just mentioned. I am teaching nurses, not just nurses, but healthcare professionals, how to structure a real business as far as how to incorporate all the things that you mentioned that you are interested in doing, really structuring your business, really working with clients on a, federal levels, local level, state level, working with individuals, working with communities, working with families, um, really narrowing down your niche, and all of that. So please, I would love to follow up with you and give you more specifics about the program, because that is getting ready to launch very, very soon for that specific reason. And I would love to help you with that. This is so needed, and you are in the best position to help all the people in your community, for sure.
Thank you. I will. I'll reach out.
Absolutely.
And so good. I'm so happy to see you, Ashley, on camera and looking beautiful out there walking your baby with a huge smile, and it looks gorgeous outside. So thank you for sharing and for asking that question. And please definitely follow up with Janine, because your incubator program sounds fantastic. When are you starting that?
It is starting July 1.
Awesome. That's so great. Awesome. Is anybody else on that wants to share, like Ashley, or have a question for Janine this morning or comment?
I have a question, and I'll turn my camera on because I'm pulling over to a park. I usually go to a park to listen to the uh, sessions so I can get out of
Awesome.
my. I started out trying to make myself not speak because I'm in a space of paradox where I'm a public speaker and I help people communicate. But when it comes to me, I don't speak when I should. And sometimes I feel like I say far too much when I shouldn't. And when we think of the shouldn'ts, but then I see you with Zen Studio now, I'm like, how do we say I was doing things I shouldn't have that were also out of my control, if they are the things that then help me get to greatness? Like, I still hear a guilt or conviction, even as we're talking about the overcoming. Good, I'm parked. I'm Jade. In the work I do, I'm familiar with trauma-informed care. We've had COVID, Michael Brown. I'm here in St. Louis with Tracy Berry McGee, and then now a tornado response. So people have been asking, well, what happened to you? And if these are things there's things going to keep happening, but now we've got a load. So if I started out with my ACEs and now I'm hearing divorce from a narcissist, all this stuff in the middle, at this point, I have no clue. So I don't feel like I've fully lost myself, but now I'm trying to identify what was that self anyway, and was it not supposed to be that self because I grew up too fast, or my mama was 15, or the rape happened, and this and that and this and that. Like, no one's gonna live an unaffected life, from community trauma to individual, or things that we perceive, like you said, real or actual. What do we do with the ball of mess here? I like how you've turned it into something, but it's turning into a healing of the thing that could bring about more. Like, am I supposed to? Should I? If we keep shoulding, we'll should all over ourselves. I should have did this. I should have did that. I
Mm-hmm.
issue to wipe the should off of me. I guess that's about as far as I got. Thanks.
No, I mean,
Probably dumped again. Said way more than I said.
No, that was fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Jade.
Thank you. Absolutely. And this is what this space is for, right? This is a collective. This is what we find our tribe, and we feel this safe space to want to share this. You know, I'm neurodivergent myself. I really I go in loops and loops and loops, and sometimes I have to reel myself back in, and that's part of the whole structure of all of this is really finding your community and finding your safe space of the like-minded people that you can talk to and that you can dump some of this on, and feel safe to want to release and surrender. And that's really really what it is because we are going to, it's not ever going to be where we're not going to go through some things. There's always going to be something, you know, and it's always a journey. And healing is always going to be, you know, we're going to go off the side road, and it's never a linear path, and there's always something that happens, but it's how we respond to it and how we kind of our response to it and how we heal from it better than how we used to before, and how we are unpacking some of these things that how maybe they used to affect us really bad before, but now we're able to be a little bit more resilient. And the choices that we make moving forward, you know, before we used to beat ourselves up like, you know, you should know better. Why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? You know, but now it's like giving yourself a little bit of grace and mercy. Sometimes I used to talk about, oh, we have to live this soft life, this soft life. Like, yes, we do, but not all the time. Like, we can't always be soft, because I think that's what kind of got us in this position now, is like we were being a little bit too soft, you know? And it's like, now we got to have some boundaries and be firm on them and not care if people look at us a little bit differently, because we're shifting how we feel and how we think and how we relate to others, because we're stronger in who we are in our conviction with ourselves. So I understand. I get it. I absolutely get it.
And
So
I
that,
would just, oh,
yes,
go ahead.
no, Kelli, I have been waiting to hear.
No, I was just gonna say, I have, you know, we've all been there. I know I have been there, and I've shared very openly over the past 5.5 years my journey. You know, I have been where you are, and I think, I would just share a couple thoughts. Definitely not a therapist, but I've been there, and I think learning that we are not the problem. We're not a problem. We are the solution to our problems when we have the opportunity to make a choice, you know, in every situation. And we need to start, my journey was starting with knowing that I'm whole and purposeful and worthy, and that I deserve love and peace and a monogamous relationship filled with joy and love. I deserve that. And we all deserve that. And I also want to say the beauty of you being on camera and speaking today is I'm so clear that we have to really feel and we have to reveal in order to heal. And feeling it and walking through the pain and walking through that journey and then sharing it. I really do believe that's why I say SonRise was born, because it is a safe space for you to share like you did this morning. And it's a journey, but the journey is so amazing when you get to the other side. It's so amazing on the other side. And so what you're going through, everybody on this call has been through in different ways with different names and different circumstances. But life on the other side can be incredible. And we have an opportunity to say out loud, how can I create a life that is a perfect fit for me? And so
But
if we say that to ourselves and really feel it and believe it and create that life, like I got divorced a couple of years ago and left everything. And Dr. Vicky knows, she was here. My apartment was completely empty. Didn't bring anything except my clothes and my shoes. Not even all those. But you know, at the end of the day, it's such a beautiful thing to say, I don't want any things anymore. I want my soul to be happy and my soul to be free. And I want to create a relationship with me that feels good and feels really loving. I want to treat myself the way I treat my children, and even better. Because think about that, if we become a parent to ourselves, the way we at least try to parent our children, which is definitely not always right, how incredible that would be.
you know, we would fight and go to the ends of the earth for our children.
That's right.
But I feel like my fight.
So what if you do that for yourself? And that's the journey. If we do that for ourselves and start fighting for ourselves and loving ourselves, then we open up the space to be lovable and to have other people say, I want to be in that space, in that orbit.
Thank y'all.
Of course, I'm happy you're here. It's a journey, and I believe in what Janina's saying, what so many people have poured into us.
Trust is an issue, but I'm trusting that there is another side because you're here and you're saying you've been
Yes.
and you look like it. It's glorious.
Yeah, on the other side, I've been through all of it. We all have. I heard you say rape, been there. All the things, abuse, been there, all of it. But we have an opportunity to transform the beliefs and judgments and patterns that we've had in our lives. And I have really worked with Tina Lifford. People know this. I'm a big fan of hers, and she's been working with me for a few years. And so I really strongly recommend her first book, The Little Book of Big Lies. And
I ordered it when you had her on.
yeah, The Little Book of Big Lies. It's a little yellow book. It's a really easy read, and it really helped me with chapter 4 that talks about up until now, I've been this way, but from this point forward, I can be different and I can choose to be different. And so I recommend that book. That's helped me. She has helped me really transition. Dr. Vicky has helped me. Everybody on these calls have helped up until now. I've been this way. Up until now, I've allowed myself to choose relationships that were negative or were not right for me, or we weren't right for each other. And so up until now, but from this point forward, I have the power to choose. And so that's a powerful chapter 4
I'll go
of that
straight there.
yellow book.
Mary McGee introduced me to this group, and
Yes. Oh, I love Tracy. Hey, Tracy.
she saved my life years
Oh,
upon years. But it was Vicky and Tina that broke me out of. I was in such an unencourageable space. Being on this call, that those strongholds broke enough to even be here today. So I just want to thank y'all and appreciate what you're doing.
Absolutely.
oh,
I get it. I absolutely get it. I'm a victim of domestic violence myself. I've gone through so much, so I get all of this. This is amazing.
Janine, can you restate what you just said?
Oh, no, I was just saying that, I resonate very much so. This is why I do what I do. I am a victim of domestic violence myself. I have overcome lots of challenges. And as a community and public health nurse and someone who I'm deep in the community, and this is what I've been put here. I'm just the vessel. I always say this. If you know me well, you know that this is my tagline. This is what I say. I'm just the vessel. I have been put here to make manifest the glory of God within me. I don't know what else I would be doing with my life if this is not the work that I would be doing. So I am really, really passionate about uplifting women, vulnerable, high-risk populations, those that need it the most, those that are marginalized, overlooked, those that just don't have the voice for themselves and don't know where to turn or where to go or what to do, and I just can't. I get emotional sometimes thinking about this. I'm a Cancer, so I cry all the time. Sorry, guys. I just full all the things. So I just
Yes,
appreciate.
feeling is good. I think, and saying the word just, makes you, I don't want, you are an incredible vessel and you are doing such work. And it sounds like you're really walking in your God-given purpose, and I can see it. And so that is such a blessing. Most of us live our whole lives trying to figure out what our purpose is, and you're doing it, which is incredible. So I thank you for that. Would you like to share as we get ready to wrap up this morning? Or was there somebody else that was trying to say something?
Yeah, I did want to say
Yeah,
something.
Kelly, we have 2 hands that are up.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Was that
Uh-oh.
Jules?
Yeah, I did want to say something because it tied directly to the chapter in Tina Lifford's book, which of course I got the book after she was on there. And It rang so true when it talked about the up to now, and it really ties into what Janine is talking about. Because until
Yeah.
you really do your own cycle of socialization and truly understanding why you behave in the way that you do or what happened to you, in uncovering what happened to you, it really made me go like, okay, there are reasons for this. And as you mature and like, oh, now I had growing up with the first kid and getting better with each and every kid as a parent, it really became into the more I knew myself, the more I understand why I ticked, the more I understand why my mama did this, the more I understand how it felt, all of the pieces coming together
Mm-hmm.
and then saying, oh, I can now have compassionate maybe for the ex because now I'm understanding what had happened to him. And then what happens
Mm-hmm.
when it's your child and you see the patterns that annoyed you in the child, whether it is your own flaws that annoy you or whether it is the flaws that you saw from the other parent, it still comes back to what did you learn, your experience. And so with the sunrise, I bring that up because in that book, Tina Lippard's book, it really gives you permission to unlearn what you learn in order to grow. And that becomes critically important because part of the journey is you're either in the
That's right.
midst of a storm, exiting a storm, or about to go into a storm. And so once you understand truly and
Mm-hmm.
honestly that that is the cycle, then it becomes what do I change and unlearn in myself in order to be more successful and whole as a being, as a child of God, and as a compassionate peer and loved one. And oh, lo and behold, as much effort as it takes to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you make gives you a lot more room and strength to be more forgiving of others. And that's the freeing part. And so I didn't ever think I'd be on this
Mm-hmm.
side of it because I thought it was a side, but it really is understanding that you reap, you sow, you reap, you sow, you enter, it's a cycle. And unless you
That's right.
get yourself understand I need rest. I need to feed myself. I need calls like this, to be
Mm,
quite frank with you, because that is feeding my soul and my mental wellness,
that's
that
right.
it makes a difference. And so I'm on here all the time because I understand where the Sunrise Project and the testimonies, the things that you shared, Janine, and others fit in my wellness cycle
Yes.
and understanding it's not linear. And it just took me forever to understand, oh, this ain't going to end as it is clearly stated biblically, right? So I have to really adjust myself and my growth and feed my spirit in the highs and the lows because of where we are. So it's kudos to all of these things, but I really did feel, to be quite honest, my experience ties it up with what Janine is saying. That book of Up Until That Now, I had a breakdown on that book. I had a
Me
pure,
too.
utter breakdown going through that book. But I
Mm-hmm. Me
just
too.
wanted to say that because it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all, but it has been helpful. So I thank you for that. Today's call has been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. You've been here since the beginning, and I think our children are same ages or similar ages. So I appreciate that so much, Jules, and thank you for sharing. And there's another hand up, and then we are going to need to wrap up because we are out of time. But the other person wants to speak.
Hey, Kelly, it's Tracy. I was tapping in
Hey,
because
Tracy.
hi. I know we started a little bit late. But I wanted to say number one, Janine, thank you. Kelly, thank you so much. I know that as women, I know I'm a therapist and I see only women, and the women always say it's difficult to trust other women. But you have to think about the circles that you are in. We all were holding on because this is a holding space. It's a space for us to heal. Healers heal collectively. Jade is an amazing, powerful woman. We all are, but we have to also remember that we're just going through life. you know? And so you have to find a space that you can trust the women. And when I tell you, whoever's on here, share with another sister, go back, look at the repeats, look at the resources, because these women are here because they're vulnerable enough to share and to show you that we are being our authentic selves. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank Vicky and Dee. Like, you all need your flowers, okay? Sit with yourselves, because this is how we grow. And I just want to thank you for allowing us to grow.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. You are such a blessing to so many, Tracy. We really appreciate you too. So thank you. Thank you for saying that and all that you do in the world, with especially with anyway, we can go on and on, but you do amazing, amazing work, and we
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right. Well, I know we started really late today. I apologize again for that. We had some tech challenges, but Janine, I want to come back to you for your final thoughts for this beautiful Sunday morning, and then we will wrap it up.
I just
Janine?
thank you
Yes.
so much, Collective, for having me on today, sharing. This has been a really, really cathartic experience for sure. I am always more than happy to follow up with you all if you have additional questions, if you'd like to work with me. I dropped all my information in the chat. Again, SonRise20, the code if you'd like to continue on with this collective discussion. I am here for you. I encourage you all to continue on your healing journey, and I am here to meet you in the middle wherever you are.
Yes, here's to that meeting in the middle. I love that. And thank you for being here. If anyone is listening, the website is zenwellstudio.com. zenwellstudio.com, and it's Janine Horn. And the special code is SonRise20. So thank you so much for being here. You are a blessing to so many, and we appreciate you. And I will now turn it over to Dr. Vicki Johnson to close us out.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Janine, so much. What a blessing. I love the soul care. That's my jam. I love that you shared that and your tools, and thank you for your transparency and your vulnerability. What I also love is the opportunity that we get to be a mirror for each other. And so, God, thank you for the SonRise Project. We thank you for this beautiful day that you've given to us, and we choose to rejoice and give you glory. Thank you for the press that Kelly and Dee demonstrated today, that we show up and we continue to show up and trust the process, knowing that all things work together for our good and for your glory. Thank you that we are not just our sister's keeper or our brother's keeper, but we are our sister, we are our brother. So thank you for the gift of having other women to heal with and to heal together and to overcome by the words of our testimony. Thank you for grace that is sufficient, for your mercy that is brand new every morning, and for your favor that surrounds us. Continue to be a blessing through Janine and her business. God, continue to help her as she helps others change and heal their lives. Bless her children, bless her business, bless the SonRise Project and all that Kelly puts her hands to do. We thank you that it's done to your glory and that it will continue to grow and produce fruit that remains. I thank you for every question that was asked today, every solution that was offered and given. And thank you that we have the privilege to trust you with all of our hearts, lean not to our own understanding, but in all of our ways acknowledge you, because you promised to direct our path. Thank you again for this beautiful community, the SonRise community. And until we meet again, we say thank you and amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Vicki. Always, always, always love you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And we will be back next Sunday at 9 o'clock for our monthly open session. So bring your comments and your energy, and Dr. Linda McGee will be with us next Sunday. So we will see you then. Have an incredible day, everyone. Thank you again for being patient with us. Have a beautiful day. See you next week.